When his family went through everything he left behind, nothing could have prepared them for what they found. On April 22, 2026, officers from the Lake Havasu City Police Department found Darrell Sheets deceased at his home in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. He was 67 years old. His estate, his business, his collection, and the question of what had brought him to that point were all left behind for a family that was not prepared for any of it. Today, we are going through what Darrell Sheets actually left behind, and why the people closest to him are still searching for answers. The man who left all of this behind spent 40 years building it from nothing. Darrell Sheets was born on May 13, 1958, in Los Angeles County. His father ran a junk dealership and worked estate sales on weekends. By the time Darrell was 12, he was at those sales alongside him, learning the difference between what something looked like and what it was actually worth. He dropped out of high school at 16, spent his 20s in manual labor across California, driving trucks, laying carpet, pouring concrete, and then in 1981 committed to storage auctions full-time. For 3 decades, he built a reputation entirely outside the spotlight. Other buyers called him the gambler because he placed thousands of dollars on lockers he had only seen from the doorway for 10 seconds. They called it reckless. Darrell called it calculating. That distinction had made him a living for 30 years before any camera crew came looking for him. When Storage Wars premiered on December 1, 2010, television did not create Darrell Sheets. It found him already fully formed and gave him an audience. The finds he made across his career tell you something about the quality of his instincts that a net worth estimate alone cannot convey. In October 2011, he paid $3,600 for a unit at Extra Space Storage in Van Nuys, California. From the doorway, it looked like nothing. 3 boxes labeled kitchen, a floor lamp, a bin of Christmas decorations. Inside were 12 original oil paintings by Mexican artist Frank Gutierrez, collectively appraised at $297,000. The most valuable single canvas, El Viajero, was worth $85,000 alone. That unit remains the highest single-unit profit in Storage Wars history, achieved on a locker he bought for less than $4,000. From a suitcase in a Las Vegas locker he almost passed on, he pulled $17,000 worth of Tiffany diamonds and solid gold. He had written the case off as costume jewelry from a burlesque show. He was wrong. A handwritten Abraham Lincoln letter came out of another unit and sold for $15,000. A comics locker he paid $15,000 for, packed floor to ceiling with G.I. Joes, Hot Wheels, and more than 300 comic books in long boxes, returned $90,000. And in a North Hollywood unit he paid $1,100 for in 2012, wrapped in a 1973 newspaper inside a pile of mildewed furniture, was a carved wooden skull with glass eyes and a brass plaque reading Tempus Fugit. Time flies. Inside the skull's cranium, visible through a small glass window, were brass gears and a wound spring. A fully functioning clock made in Germany in 1892. He kissed it on camera, laughed nervously, and kept it on his mantle for 2 years before selling it for nearly triple what he had paid for the entire locker. These are not lucky accidents distributed randomly across a career. They are the result of an eye trained by thousands of hours of careful observation across hundreds of auctions that nobody filmed. He appeared in more than 160 episodes of Storage Wars across 15 seasons. At the show's peak, A&E paid lead cast members between $15,000 and $25,000 per episode. His son Brandon appeared alongside him for much of that run, earning his own nickname on the show, Side Bet. The dynamic between them gave those episodes something the format could not engineer artificially. A father teaching a son to see what others couldn't, in real time, on camera. Brandon left the show after season 9 to build a career in real estate in Arizona with Keller Williams. Darrell supported that decision. The people who knew him described that quality consistently, the way he put the people in his life ahead of everything else, including his own public image. After retirement in 2023, Darrell moved to Lake Havasu City and opened Havasu Show Me Your Junk, a small antique shop he stocked himself from local garage sales and estate finds. He posted shop updates to Instagram, ran occasional yard sales, and appeared to be doing what a man does when he has decided to slow down and enjoy what he built. His last Instagram post went up in December 2025. What was actually happening during that period was something his family and closest friends did not fully understand until it was too late. Since at least 2023, someone had been running a sustained campaign against him inside the community where he now lived. Fabricated statements were posted under his name. Fake disputes were attributed to him involving a local business owner, engineered to make people in his neighborhood angry enough to show up in person. They did show up. A separate individual was operating around Lake Havasu City, presenting himself as Darrell, collecting money from residents under his name, threatening local businesses using his identity. The operation had been running for 3 years. Darrell filed reports. The police were aware. The platforms had not acted. In March 2026, he made all of it public in a Facebook post that named the crime and stated plainly that what was being done to him was a felony. 6 weeks later, he was gone. René Nejoda, his on-screen rival for 15 seasons and one of his closest friends off-camera, posted a video the same day. He said Darrell had been showing him the messages for months, hundreds of them, targeting his weight, his age, his family. When René was around, Darrell laughed them off. At home alone at night, it was different. René said directly, "You never know what demons somebody faces and what you might push them through." Lake Havasu City. Police Sergeant Kyle Ridgway confirmed to Page 6 that the cyberbullying accusations were part of the active investigation into Darrell's death. As of May 2026, no arrest has been made. Brandy Passante posted that her heart hurt for Brandon, Zoe, and Kimber. A&E called him a beloved member of the Storage Wars family. But the tribute that carried the most weight came from René, and specifically from one line. He said Darrell cared more than anyone he had ever met about the people in his life, about his son, about his granddaughter Zoe, about pretty much everyone around him. That description does not fit the aggressive auction competitor the show spent 15 seasons building. It fits a man who had identified what mattered most and was holding on to it through every change that came his way. What Darrell Sheets left behind at the time of his death was an estate estimated at between $2 and $4 million. His home in Lake Havasu City, Havasu Show Me Your Junk, stocked with the finds from his final years of buying. A 2018 Ford F-150, an art and antique collection still awaiting full appraisal, pieces accumulated across decades that have not yet been fully valued. He is survived by his son Brandon, who now works in real estate in Arizona and is married to Melissa. They have 2 children together, Adeline and Layden. His daughter Tiffany lives privately away from the spotlight. His granddaughter Zoe, who Darrell helped raise and who appeared in more of his social media posts than almost anyone else in his life, graduated from high school in 2022. In photos from that day, Darrell is standing beside her and Kimber, smiling in a way that has nothing to do with any storage locker. Brandon posted photographs after his father's death. His father smiling at a wedding, on a beach, in the moments that never made any episode. Darrell Sheets spent 40 years finding value in things other people had given up on. He built a fortune from rooms full of other people's abandoned belongings, one careful decision at a time, across decades that predated any camera or audience or catchphrase. He documented the harassment for 3 years. He named the person. He filed the reports. He made it public. The people who loved him most had no idea how much weight it was adding to whatever else he was carrying. And that is the part of what Darrell Sheets left behind that no estate, no appraisal, and no amount of public tribute can address.